Hellraiser, part of me says don't ever remake it, but another part of me thinks it could be reinvigorated.
See,
really.
and I always thought Red Shoe Diaries was the horror of porn. So
yes,
I mean,
there you go.
It works both ways.
No, but I don't even remember.
I don't.
4 is Bloodline, 5 is... I don't even remember the fifth.
Inferno, yeah.
Inferno, yeah, okay, the one that Derrickson did.
What, Scott Derrickson?
I think that was the one Scott Derrickson directed.
No shit.
Fact check that shit.
Yeah, he definitely directed one of them.
We'll definitely
my
check.
apologies to Scott Derrickson if I named the wrong Hellraiser.
We will we'll check that out.
And for those listeners who aren't sure, Mr. Derrickson is, of course, the director of Exorcism of Emily Rose and the War of the Worlds remake.
No, Day the Earth Stood Still.
Day the Earth Stood Still. Duh, I forgot who directed.
Take a shot. Everyone take a shot. We were wrong about something.
Yeah.
And an upcoming indie horror film written by a good friend of ours, Mr. C. Robert Cargill.
Yeah, Derrickson's directed a film.
Co-wrote with Scott
What's the title
Derrickson.
on that?
I think it's still untitled as of right now. They're supposed to go into production
I believe
September.
they
I think it's called Thunderwear.
Yeah.
Recently
I think it might
signed
be called
Ethan Hawke to that film.
Don't Look in the Bread Box.
Yeah.
Is the title.
That's completely possible.
But yeah, congratulations to Chris and Scott on that project. I hope that's cool.
Chris,
On
he's
the
going to
bread
kill you.
box.
His name's Christopher Cargill. You can call him what you want.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And I often do.
He would disagree with you. But
His mother wouldn't. His mother named him, damn it.
Where the hell were we?
But you did not. I think we were about ready for Amityville 5 at this
Oh, God. Oh,
I need another drink then.
Wait, now do you want to talk about a franchise that just started out so and just died? I mean, Amityville 2 is so... You wouldn't believe that it was actually a theatrical release. It's terrible. It looks like it was shot in a closet. And part 3 with Tony Roberts arrived at the height of the early 80s 3D craze. And I remembered having some good goopy monsters in it. It was originally known as Amityville the Demon, which I think you'll find it as in other countries. But from there, it's like Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes. And Amityville 5, what? Amityville Dollhouse. Amityville 6, Attack a Play School. I don't know.
5 is the Amityville curse.
Yeah.
About the
One's
kids,
about a clock.
The kids that all spend the night in the Amityville house.
Right, Amityville 92. It's about time. Or something.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's an interesting concept there as I make my way back from the bar. There's an interesting concept there what you said about maybe the house isn't haunted but the closet is.
Yeah.
That's interesting because the rest of the house is fine. Just don't go in that fucking closet.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yo, you can't curse on the internet.
I sure can.
I believe we can, and of course, you know.
Oh, and of course, I would like to invite any of Brian's regulars or listeners to this show.
All 4 of you.
Yep, to chime in the inevitable comment section. If there's any part 5s that either you disagree with our opinions on or that we have overlooked, we're not done yet, but we would love to start a part 5 chit-chat with our listeners.
Absolutely.
And, bear in mind that the opinions of Hatchet Men do not necessarily reflect those of Hatchet Men.
No, all these
That's
opinions
very, very
reflect the actual opinions of Eric Davis.
and
New York
Peter S.
City.
Hall.
And Peter S. Hall, exactly right.
So Howling made a 5th film.
Yeah, Howling made it.
Howling 5: The Rebirth.
If you can make it past Howling 2,
I have actually
get glue badge.
I have actually seen The Howling 3, and in fact...
Yeah, 3 is marsupials, right?
Yes.
That's the only one in the entire franchise that I've actually seen. I'm embarrassed to admit.
For a long time.
Is it like a Russell Mulcahy film?
No. It's Philippe Mora.
Yeah. Okay, well there you go.
He did part 2 as well. I think 3 also.
Yes, he did. He did part 2 and part 3, and he did an amazing film from the 80s called The Beast Within, which is just fucking phenomenal.
Some awesome. I was just going to make a really nasty joke, but it has really awesome monster.
Yeah.
I won't tell you how the monster is created.
Which one is the one with Peter Cushing?
No, it's Christopher Lee. He's in part 2. There's a great story that Philippe Mora tells about Howling 2. I don't remember what the topic of this episode was, but fuck it. When the suits come off, the vulgarity comes out. I think that's the problem.
I think we should just talk about nothing but Philippe Mora.
Yeah, well, anyway, Philippe Mora tells the story about Howling 2, where he was in Eastern European country X that I can't remember, and he was getting ready to... He was filming everything but the werewolf scenes because he didn't have the costumes. And he kept telling the studio over and over again, I need those costumes, we need to film these scenes. Finally, he gets a crate that says, plastered across the side, says 20th Century Fox. He breaks open the crate. They are surplus Planet of the Apes uniforms, or costumes. So he has apes costumes instead of wolf costumes.
You hear that?
He is freaking out, and Christopher Lee says, "Don't worry. What we will do is we will film me in a close-up, and I will explain that between the human stage and the wolf stage, there is an ape stage. And Philippe Moore just looked at him for a minute and went, all right, that's what we're going to do.
And that's why Christopher Lee starred in 997 films.
Sir Christopher Lee is knighted for a reason.
Yeah,
and it wasn't his ability to choose stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't for his screenwriting abilities or script doctoring skills, clearly.
But he's obviously the MacGyver of film.
Look, he's like, he probably thought, if this film doesn't get finished, I don't get paid.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm making Christopher Lee sound like John Huston, but clearly that's what's going on.
It sounds authoritative. That's all that matters.
It's better than your James Mason impression. That's
how dare you?
Oh God. Then we got to slow this down before he gets into Dudley Moore.
To drink and talk about a topic of horror.
Let's see. Just to run down the list.
Honestly, horror fans, if you can start with Joe Dante's really entertaining Howling, and then you can actually make it all the way through Howling 2, tweet at me and I will give you a
I feel like there should be a Get Glue sticker for that. Like, I survived Howling 2.
No doubt.
Isn't that one called Your Sister is a Werewolf?
Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Yep.
For the longest time, I mean, there was a period there from when I was about 14 to maybe 17, where if you had said, what's the worst film you've ever seen, Scott, I would have said Howling 2. It is outrageously, hilariously inept.
But it's got that's such a great secondary title, though. I really wish they would have kept going with that. Like Howling 4, your roommate is a werewolf. Howling 5, your second cousin is a werewolf.
Oh my God, the guy who the UPS guy who just rang at your door.
Yeah, just keep going with more and more random connections.
That werewolf is a werewolf.
But I will say, and I'm just going out on a limb here, my guess is that Howling 5, The Rebirth, is slightly better than The Prophecy Part 5.
Oh gosh.
Forsaken.
Is Walken still in the franchise at that point?
By Part 5? Only if his agent was terrible.
The thing about Gregory Wyden is he gets paid no matter how many sequels they make.
And of course, the fantastic Return of the Living Dead series.
Oh, yeah.
The first two films are great.
I love both of the first two films.
The third one's not bad either. The third one was, it's kind of an in-name only sequel, but it's not, as far as 80s zombie comedy, dark comedies go, Part 3's not bad. But
by the time we get to 5,
yes. Well, no, what happened was, I forget the name of the producers. It might have been the Liddells, the guys who got Creepshow and then Day of the Dead. They got, my apologies if that's not accurate, but some producers got
take a shot if we're wrong. That's how we roll.
Yeah. They get the rights to a name. So they put out Part 4, Necropolis, and Part 5, Rave to the Grave, whatever the fuck they're called.
Yep.
And they're terrible. But what they do is, because there are horror freaks like us, we now consider them part of the franchise, and they live, quote-unquote, forever as part of this franchise.
As is evidenced by the fact that we're discussing them tonight. And I don't know, I'm torn between giving them some credit for and disparaging their names also for the cover art for Rave to the Grave, which is a clear nod to Linnea Quigley by having just this slightly voluptuous, curvy lass with red hair covering her face, which is obviously supposed to be a nod to the amazingly beautiful Linnea Quigley, who
hates clothes,
naked through a good portion of the original, and is also a red-headed young lass at the time. So kind of back and forth. Though the rest of the cover art is really shitty. She's like on all fours over a pentagram.
Well, and the other thing is you have to take the title, the subtitle into account here, because they literally just threw the gun at the audience when they ran out of ideas and went the Dr. Seuss route. It's just like, this is the Rave to the Grave with the fox in the box.
But given the cover art, 13-year-old Luke would have been scouring.
Would have been looking at the fox's box, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just scouring TV Guide and
that's what bugs me is
hoping beyond hope that the letters SSC appeared, standing, of course, for strong sexual content.
The problem is, though,
it was good spank material.
For a young horror geek, the hours are finite. So I feel like that. Not to disparage, the youth of today or the young horror geeks of today, but there is so much. It's like
there's so many better films to spend your time on.
Right? No, but here's the thing: when I went into the video store in the '80s to find a horror film, I had a much better chance of finding something fun or campy or cheesy or gory or great than a kid nowadays does, because there are literally 10 times the number
of
shitty horror films.
Absolutely.
Whereas I could have gone in and rented Return of the Living Dead 2, which definitely has its charms, a kid, the modern equivalent of me today might go home with Rave to the Grave and go, this is garbage. I never want to see any of these films.
I'm sorry, but Warwick Davis just shared a blunt with Ice-T in
Leprechaun 5.
Leprechaun 5. If one of your goals in life was to watch Warwick Davis smoke out with Ice-T...
I can't imagine why that wouldn't be one of your bucket
and
list
really, I mean, what kind of
items.
human being are you if that isn't one of your goals? I would highly recommend this film. It does have that.
Well, I think that's really all the part 5s we had listed. I have no doubt that we've missed a few.
God, I can't imagine we've
I think
missed a few.
this is a good time to transition over and talk about a few franchises that were either smart enough or
broke,
broken enough, right? Or just had the dumb
or
luck
creatively bankrupt enough
to stop at part 4.
Yeah.
Well, your top one is the perfect example. If you ever want to see like a what do they call it, a bell chart or just a bar graph on you start with Jaws, which is you can argue
a rather good film.
Yeah, you can argue it's horror or not, but
it's a horror
is to me, and I think
are you
to
kidding
you,
me?
It's a horror film. It's many things.
People
but it's
die
a horror.
horribly in that movie.
It's scary. It's a scary film, and it tries to scare you. Therefore, it's a horror film.
But I can already hear the arguments of people who are like, people die in Hotel Rwanda horribly too.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Hey, now, Jesus.
Yeah, you got a little dark there.
I'm just saying, like, I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, you're right. Just because somebody dies in a film, it doesn't make it horror. No, I get what you're saying. All right, now Jaws. No, most people would not argue that Jaws is a pretty sublime piece of popular filmmaking in every way. A brilliant, entertaining, fascinating, funny, scary, great film. Then you come to Jaws 2, which
I like Jaws 2 quite a bit.
Forgettable, slight, obviously redundant, obviously aping the points and the themes and the ideas that were very popular in the first one, so as not to upset the apple cart.
But also, it does that, but it also plays into the slasher films that were starting to get really popular at the time.
Yes.
And it does so in a way that, first of all of the victims in peril in Jaws 2 are teenagers.
Yep.
There's literally the shot of the I'm back across the skyline of Amity Island, which is really fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
But I love that movie for
Jaws
that
2
very
is
reason.
fun. Jaws 2 is to me, there are sequels to damn good films that are good. Halloween 2 is a good film.
Of course, Halloween 2 is good.
Not just a good film. Halloween 2 is a damn good
Right,
film.
now that's my point. But would anybody compare Halloween 2 to Carpenter's original? Of course not. But it is on its own an honorable sequel.
Man, I don't know. I would go farther than that. I feel like Halloween 2 is a perfect continuation of the first film.
I don't know if the quality is really of story and structure is as refined, but
I dig it though. I mean, it just
No, I think it's a good movie.
It's just
When did the second one come out? 1980?
yeah, 81.
81.
Yeah.
It's okay. Whether you like it as a continuation, whether you like them as a companion
Well, I mean, I think what Luke is mentioning, and I think we all agree, is that when it's done right, the picked up from the last second kind of sequel can be awesome.
Right, but the interesting thing about Halloween in particular is that it exists in two completely different eras of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because it has Halloween 1, the reason they're so different is Halloween 1, even though it's at the end of the 70s,
It has
is a completely different
70s
style.
vibe. Yep.
And then as soon as we cross over into the 80s and get Halloween 2, it's like a completely different
Well, you
film.
gotta, I mean, imagine you're the producer who's doing this first day at Halloween 2, and they're like...
Mustafa Akkad?
Yeah, well, any producer. Deborah Hill, and you look around and you said, okay, well, we helped mostly kickstart this huge slasher craze, and now we kind of have to lower ourselves to our peers and dabble in the gore, because that's what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the movie does a fine job. Rick Rosenthal does a good job of balancing the gore and the mythology and just plain old scares. I like Halloween 2.